Alrighty. So I'm Sergeant Kirk Martin. You know me pretty well. Been with BCSO since August of this year, but I've been in law enforcement entirely about 6 months, 6 months, 6 years in total. And then if you want to introduce yourself, sir. All right.
Okay.
And Walker, you want to introduce yourself or not?
So, hello, my name is Lieutenant Henry Rocker, Blaine County Sheriff's Office.
Short and to the point. Love
He knows me.
it. Alrighty. Um, so I know you got some previous law enforcement experience with you. If you want to go into some detail about that.
Um, well, so you guys know about my previous experience being in the department here. However, I do also have previous experience in a commissioner standpoint. The commissioner standpoint I had was different, whereas whereas here they're sort of here and there whenever they need to be. I was basically around all the time running the entire PD. So I've got the experience to sort of notice people's skills and notice people in their hard work. Um, yeah, as you saw, a lot of my experience was here though, so
Yeah.
I don't really, I'm not really sure what else. I've not had any new experience. Just I've been waiting for the 2 weeks, so um, yeah, I there's nothing's changed since I started. Since I was here.
Okay. Um, and then do you have anything like medications or any medical
No.
conditions that would hinder you? Okay. Alrighty. And then, in your own words, sir, what would integrity mean to you, and how would it relate to policing?
Um, so I've had a long think about integrity, um, and I know that what I can tell you is if I kept my integrity in the beginning, I would never have handed my badge over in that unfortunate event that we had. Um, However, I know that everyone in this police department has integrity when it comes to doing the job. Um, and it's why I'm back here. And did you say you want to know how it applies in
Yeah.
the police job?
Yeah, like how does it relate to policing? Yes, sir.
Um, hmm, that's a good way that I can word it. Uh, well, I guess integrity is just it relates to policing because we're expected to be honest, we're expected to be supportive towards people. We're not expected to be corrupt or um, like integrity, especially in this city, integrity plays a long part in fighting the wonderful phrase you will love of fruit from a poisonous tree.
Mhm.
Because if you have integrity and you keep it, you'll never run into fruit from a poisonous tree. People will respect you and you'll be able to do your job efficiently without anyone wanting to murder you because you were rude to them or like integrity is just an entire part of the police job. Treating people with respect, being honest with them, um, having strong principles that you abide by, and as the department's also got strong principles that we all abide by. So
All right.
I'd say integrity is a like one of the key points of BCSO.
And then, what do you believe is your greatest failure or weakness? And what did you learn and take away from the experience?
So I'm going to use the most recent of me handing my badge over. I what I learned from that was instead of just sort of throwing the towel in and walking away like I did, that I would have been able to say to Mav or to Elmwood, or it was no, sorry, it was Elmwood and Walker. I would have been able to say to Walker or Elmwood, I just need 5 minutes, and being able to like take a breather, or I could have also requested the people I didn't want there to be removed so I could have a private discussion. So I learned from that situation that instead of just getting angry and giving up, I should have just asked for help, which I guess I was just too proud to do at the time.
Okay. How do you deal with like pressure, like tough situations? Can you give like an example? That would be great.
Um,
Like anything, like a stressful situation, overwhelmed. Like, how do you deal
yeah,
with that?
I actually give you a really good example. So one of my first times being solo, the last time after I did the training and did all of that, there was I don't know if you were there. I don't know if any of you will remember this, but there was Cerberus kidnapped an officer. They drove down to the gun store slash sort of clothing store down by 1005 near the military base, and they went behind there and they were sitting there with their guns out, and it became a situation where we had to set up sort of blocks of our vehicles, coordinate with officers to be able to get them across the river in case individuals start shooting us or coming from a different direction. And we were able to all communicate very well. I was the first person to be shot at. I I subdued the person, the suspect that was shooting at me, which then I explained over radio what happened, and then the rest of the gang started shooting at PD. So under the stress, I kept calm. I gave good comms, and we were able to deal with the situation.
Okay. If hired on by BCSO, where do you see yourself or want to see yourself in the coming month?
It's a really good question. I don't really know where I'll end up, obviously, because of the previous thing. I would like to go back to K9, but I don't know how that would work. I don't know if it would work. I think I'm just going to take it slow, take it well, because before I put an LOI in for K9 and then motorcycle and then heat and just one after the other, and I was pushing myself, trying to do everything all at once. I think this time I would just take it slow, do one, focus on it, so I'm not having to split my mind between each different thing, master that. Maybe to be honest, I would like to help with the FTO stuff that because I do like to help people learn. I guess more of like a supportive role than than the sort of like being upfront, sort of in the heat or on SWAT or anything like that. I'd rather just do the sort of supportive back role. And K9 if Walker lets me.
Alrighty. Give me a second. during a routine traffic stop, you um, pull over an individual for speeding. Let's say he was going like 30 over, so quite a bit over the posted speed limit. The man offers you 10K to let him go with a warning, even though he knows he's getting a citation. How do you handle that situation?
So I'm giving him a citation and he offers me 10K anyway.
Correct. Yeah, you're going to hand him the citation, and he's telling you, "I'll give you 10K to let it go."
So I would give him the benefit of the doubt and say that that would be a bribe and give him a chance to retract his comment. Otherwise, I would be arresting him on attempted bribery of a law enforcement. And the only reason I say that is because I don't know if you guys have ever had it, but there's so many people that will, as a joke, say, "Oh, can I give you this and you let me go?" Or
Mhm.
you know, "I'll give you this money," and they say it as a joke. That you know, it's about understanding the situation. Sometimes they say it as a joke, giving them the ability to retract it and say, "Oh, you know, I was just kidding." Um, I guess it puts you across more of a people person than just saying, "You've just bribed me. I'm arresting you," for slapping them in cuffs. You know, and then they're going to get angry. They're going to get aggressive. So I guess it's more about working with them, seeing the human part of them, giving them the benefit of the doubt. If it is a joke, if they are serious, then obviously it would then be arresting them for attempted bribery. Yeah.
All right. Kind of another traffic stop situation. They pull over a guy. Say the same kind of situation. He's speeding, going 30 miles an hour over. You run the license plate. He's got no warrants or anything like that. He's also got no priors either. You go up to the window, you introduce yourself. He's already getting belligerent. Like, he's like, "I don't know what you're stopping me for," yada yada yada. Giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
How do you keep your cool in that situation, and how do you handle someone like that?
So to be honest, I would sort of keep my voice sort of quiet. I wouldn't like shout or raise my voice. I would explain to him why I'm pulling him over. Explain to him the situation. Um, depending on how bad the situation is, um, it could be like, yeah, if he doesn't have his driver's license and all that sort of stuff, then I would give him a larger fine. If it was speeding, see, the difficult part is 30 over is quite a lot. So I wouldn't let his attitude towards me decide on how I handle the situation. Part of me would obviously want to give him a fine because he was speeding. Another part of me, because he had no priors, would make me want to just give him a warning. But mostly I would ask him if he had a reason for speeding. If his reason was good enough, like he was bleeding and needed to get to the hospital urgently, understandable,
I
warning, etc.
I kind of meant more like he was like being really
Speeding on
rude to
purpose.
you, like being rude to
Okay.
you, like
Well,
why'd you
yeah,
stop me? What? This is ridiculous, like kind of shit like that.
yeah,
Calling
I'll
you like,
treat him. I'll treat him the exact same as I treat anyone else. Just because he's being rude to me, I'm not going to be a dick to him.
okay, alrighty.
If you show them respect, eventually they'll end up showing you respect.
Right. Alrighty. Upon arrival to a reported store robbery, one suspect initiates gunfire at you and another officer that was already on scene. While engaging in the shootout between you and the suspect decides to cease fire and begin to flee on foot from the scene. Upon attempting to chase the suspect, you notice that the other officer has been critically wounded. How would you proceed?
So, and this is the exact same answer I gave to Jackson when he was not. Is it Jackson? Johnson? Fred? It was Fred
Mhm.
when he was here. I would get in my car and park it at an angle to give us protection in case the person came back. I would call over radio the description of the individual, the direction of travel they're going in, any identifying clothes or tattoos, the firearm that they used, and get officers that are on the way to head in that direction. And I would stay with the officer and make sure that he is given medical treatment, that he is stabilized and ready to be transported if there are no paramedics around. The officer's safety is a higher priority than the 5 minutes of fame by getting a firearm off the street and arresting someone. So I would stay with the officer that's down and make sure that he's given proper treatment. And hope that the officers that are coming in from different locations and different directions can catch the individual.
Okay.
Especially if, and I'll tell you why. If I was to chase the guy and he gets away, the officer could then die, and then the guy's got away with murder, and I've basically let an officer die. If I stay, the guy might get away, but the officer will still be alive, and then we can get his body cam, and we can get an investigation going if there's any identifiers, and CID can do their thing.
One more scenario-based question, and you've probably heard this one too. I'm just kind of curious to see what you would do in the situation.
Sure.
How would you approach a scene where you were directed by a supervisor to make an arrest that you believe to be unlawful? What steps would you take, if any?
So personally, I've always got my body cam running, and let's just say, as an example, you told me to arrest someone that I believed it to be an unlawful arrest. I would ask you why I'm arresting the person, under what reasoning, and if I still believed it to be unlawful, I actually, to be honest, would refuse to arrest them. And if you wanted to make a complaint, I would explain to you where you can take that complaint to, which would be my chain of command. Arresting someone in an unlawful arrest, depending on the situation, could end up becoming slight corruption. And if someone wants to commit some sort of corruption or unlawful arresting, they can do that themselves. I'm not going to be their puppet and break laws and do the wrong thing for them. And if they do want to make a complaint, then that's what the chain of command's for. They can go make a complaint about me, and I will provide the body cam that says otherwise. If for example, I believe the arrest is unlawful and I ask why, and they give good reasoning and they've got the evidence, I will happily listen, but only when I know that only when I know they're not doing it out of spite because of the person.
Right.
If I know that they're doing it for a proper, if they're arresting someone because they've actually committed a crime, I'll arrest the person. If they're telling me to arrest someone because they called them fat, they can arrest them themselves, and then they can go and get the punishment themselves when it gets found out that they've gone and arrested someone because their feelings were hurt. I'm not going to be. I'm here to listen. I'm here to learn, but I'm not going to be someone's puppet and break rules and commit corruption or whatever else just because someone wants to have a little power trip. That is my viewpoint on it.
Okay. All right.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. I'm just gonna ask you one more kind of like personality question, and I'm just trying to
Is this the
figure it
muffin
out.
one or the cookie one?
No, no.
Okay.
Those are bonus questions. This is one more,
Okay.
and then we'll get into those kind of things. Um, how do you take constructive criticism, and how do you like what do you take from it, and then how do you proceed afterwards?
So I'm gonna use I'm gonna give you two examples. So recently, 2 weeks ago, Henry came to me with some concerns. I kind of figured out from the way he was stood, the way he was talking to me, that I was going to be removed from the canine unit. And I got annoyed. I got frustrated because there were other things in the background that, as you know yourself, and Henry knew after, um, there was stuff in the background that was going on that was causing me issues. And I ended up turning in my badge for it. And what I learned from that, like I said earlier, was I could have just asked for help. I could have asked for people to leave the room. And I've learned that I can actually ask for help if I need to. No matter how long I've been here, people will respect that and help me. Another example of criticism. A little while ago, I in a different PD, there was myself, an individual that did not have a firearm, as he was a new officer that was still learning, and we encountered one individual run into a mechanic shop and stab one person. That one person belonged to a gang who just so happened to have 19 other people upstairs and around the store. It then turned into 20 people attacking one person. And I got called in by the chain of command because I refused to fire my firearm at 20 people when I was by myself with a training cadet with no firearm. I was told off. I had my firearm taken away because I refused to shoot at all those people. And after a week, I went and spoke to. I went to the head of the department. I explained the reasoning. I showed him my body cam because he was LOA, so I couldn't talk to him before. And he actually, the outcome of it was he went and trained his command team that the PD don't just shoot at a massive group of people when you're outnumbered, because you're not like all you three know, and whoever watches the recording of the interview will know, if you're outnumbered and you shoot your gun, you become the target. Even if it's two gangs attacking each other, if you shoot once at them, you become the bigger target. So to ensure your safety and to ensure that you can actually provide medical treatment to anyone who's left, or to enforce any investigations, you need to sort of understand when a firearm is to be used. And that person, unfortunately, just saw it as like a toy and didn't understand that you need to be intelligent when you make the decisions on engaging. You need to be tactical about it. And their criticism resulted in them being able to learn, and me being able to prove that I could be trusted to have a firearm again, because I was able to explain how I was in the right. And it actually implemented a new training for the PD on mass situations where there's people outnumbering you.
All right. Okay. Another question. Sorry, I'm thinking about them as you're talking.
Yeah.
And like in a disagreement between two parties or anything like that, do you always have to be the person that's in the right? Like,
No,
do you?
no,
Okay.
I've been wrong many times. However, so if I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. Um, but most of the experiences where I've had constructive criticism, and I've never had this situation here. It's always been other places, but I've always had it where people have been above me and they have believed that they know more because of their rank, and they don't understand that just because you're a high rank doesn't mean you know more. It just means that you've worked your way up and you've earned it, through like just sort of general working and being on duty. Um, and I was wrong with, for example, the situation when I handed in my badge. I was wrong there. Happily admit that. Um, there was another situation where instead of going to Walker, I went to Maverick. It was mostly to ask for advice on how to do K9, because I know Maverick more than Walker, and I knew that Maverick was always doing K9. Um, I see that I should have gone to Walker about it and asked for advice, and I was wrong in that. Just at the time, Maverick was one of the only people that I like really sort of knew. Yeah, like, and I knew him before he was a major. I think he was in SASP as just a normal K9 unit. Um, so I've been wrong in many points, and I'll happily admit that.
Okay. We'll just go on to the bonus questions and we'll get this all wrapped up. I don't want to take any more of your time. If you could be any animal, what would you be and why?
That is a very, very good question. I've never had that one before. It doesn't have to be a real animal, like one
No,
that
not
exists.
necessarily.
Um, hmm. I That's a very good question. I would probably say um what are they called? It's I can't remember the name of them, but they're basically wild dogs in Africa. I've forgotten the name of them. I think it's Africa or Kenya, one of the hot places that's dry.
Yeah.
And it would be because they're basically, whenever you see them, they're always as a group. They're always as like a big family. Um, and I think being in a group, being with people that just being around people that care about if you're um there on a day, or if you're like being able to understand when you're struggling. I think that's important, especially for PD. Everyone sort of needs to work together and be together, kind of thing. So I would say wild dogs, just because they're always relying on each other, and I think that's what people need to do more, and it's what I need to learn to do more. Is I need to rely on people, and I think if I am accepted back, I'll probably attempt to do more ride-alongs with people. Before, I just wanted to get out there by myself. I never really met anyone. I think it would really sort of benefit me to get out there with people, work with them, learn who they are, learn the ways they do things, um, and sort of integrate myself more than just being by myself.
Okay. At this point, do you guys have any other questions, Campbell or Walker?
None at this time.
Okay. At this point, this will be the conclusion of the interview. What we're gonna do is we'll take this video and send it off to our rest of our HR team. We'll have a vote, and hopefully it shouldn't take super long. Once I have a vote, Campbell should be reaching out to you with the final verdict of that.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for us?
I guess my only question is, how does, if let's say I am accepted back, how does it work? Because I can't remember if it was Maverick or Elmwood, but one of them said that I would come back as a cadet. I would be brought back as one rank below what I was, which was just I was a senior, so then I'd be a deputy. Or is it different now? Am I doing the? Would I have to do the cadet phase again?
I'm not real sure about the answer to that.
It might have been Elmwood. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I asked them that question before because it was basically a returning officer. I believe I might actually have the email from. I might have an email from Elmwood about it. Or Mav. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Well, I'm happy to do the cadet phase again if I need to. It's at the end of the day, it's not really about ranks, is it? It's about just doing what we can to provide a good sort of I guess good interaction with the with the PD from a criminal's point of view. If we give them good interactions, then hopefully they'll sort of be less aggressive towards us.
All right. Yeah. Then we'll figure that out, and then we'll reach out to
Yeah.
you about that as well.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Great.
We'll walk you out. Oh, it's on the table.